All right, welcome to another episode of the Freezin for NFC North Podcast, episode 97, Division Training Camp Preview. Jordan Love contract talks. He's going to sit out. How about that? And Bears Hard Knocks. Bears are on top again. I love it. All the positive things from Chicago, and I love seeing some drama in Green Bay. But welcome in once again, RevTrev. Where can everyone find you as we get started?
Yeah, you can find me. Just search for me, RevTrevNFL on TikTok, on YouTube. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so I'd appreciate any help there. On X, on Facebook, and I think that's it. I mean, I'm trying to be everywhere. So RevTrevNFL. Thanks, Andy, for having me. By the way, it's been a minute.
It's been a minute, but hey, you're killing it. You're doing some work. I'm just watching from afar, enjoying it. Obviously, I would enjoy it if it was, not Packer content, but it's always level-headed Packer content, and which I can appreciate at least. And but yeah, as everyone gets started, you can find me on NFLOutdated on Twitter, X, and on TikTok, Freezin 4 Pod. And obviously things are going to get revving up as more stuff gets going, but always good to have this discussion. And as news is coming about, it's going to be about that time. It's about that time. Training camp's going. I believe it's this Saturday is Back Together Saturday, right?
I didn't know.
It's called All the Training Camps Back Together, coming back and celebrating that. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of coverage on NFL Network, and I'm going to be glued to that for sure. I was shut out of tickets to the Bears training camp. I was going to go this weekend. This would have been my weekend to go, but because of the Hard Knocks being filmed, it was just, everybody basically getting tickets, and then people were trying to sell them. We talked about that before. People were trying to sell the tickets, and then the StubHub said, nope, you can't. So it's going to be interesting how that all plays out, but it's excitement in Chicago. Totally. We'll get more to that, but obviously there's excitement for you in Green Bay. What about the news that Jordan Love is going to sit out until he gets his contract? Are you worried about that, or what are your thoughts on that?
You know what? To be honest, Andy, it's kind of been boring. There's been really nothing to talk about. So this actually gives us something to talk about. I'm just exhausted from training camp videos, and it's been like 3 days in. I just don't get it. I don't understand why fans eat up the content. The Jordan Love thing, I was surprised. I was absolutely surprised. But at the end of the day, it's a little bit of Green Bay's fault, right? Because they didn't take up the 5th-year option and all this stuff. And it's like he had a good starting season, and then his contract's up and it's ready to go. And to me, I understand what Jordan's doing. I get it. This is where he's going to make his money, right? I also understand why the Packers are a little bit hesitant to throw him all the cash and just say, you know what, let's just pump the brakes a little bit here. So I kind of like have these mixed feelings about it, but I don't feel worried at all. Like when people were coming, like Packers fans were coming at Bears fans going, oh, Caleb Williams hasn't signed yet. I'm like, it's just a matter of time. Like, do you guys really think that they're not going to sign Caleb Williams before they walk into some of the most important training camp and season in the last decade, right? Or maybe more. And I just kind of feel the same way. It's just like they're arguing about stupid stuff now. They probably have the numbers down. They might not have the years. They might have like he wants tacos on Thursday instead of Tuesday. I don't know what it is, but I don't feel worried at all. Literally at all. What makes me worried? Not worried at all. What concerns me a little bit is like, really, what's the number going to be? And I think Jordan Love is going to get overpaid.
Yeah. Well, yeah, overpaid. It's such an interesting term, right? Because I get it. And you know me, I harp on Jordan Love having a great half a season, right?
That's fake news, by the way.
I mean, 10 through 18, right? That's why I keep hearing 10 through 18. I mean, that's not a full season, but be that as it may, anytime you have a quarterback that shows any type of promise, and I will admit there was promise there.
Yeah, of course.
And the NFL quarterback position, or the position in the NFL that is most important to a team, is the quarterback. Because you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have a field general that's going to get the weapons, the ball to the right weapons, and just in crunch time be able to do things, you're SOL. And I mean, we even saw that with Daniel Jones, and how much money the Giants gave him for.
Right.
They had a little bit of promise that was there. You have to do it. Now with the Packers, if they overpay, how much will it set them back?
Like, yeah, that's the problem, right? That's the problem. Because if you pay when you pay the quarterback the big money, it means that you lose somewhere else on the team. And so that's just a fact. It's not just Packers land. It's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. There's a lot of people subscribe to the fact that if you pay your quarterback huge money, you do not win a Super Bowl.
Right. But eventually you have to pay them. And just kind of the way they milked it with Rodgers and had to, kind of buy their time with Love. At least, the positive thing is for Packers fans is that he didn't completely bomb out the whole season, just half the season. But he didn't completely bomb out. So at least there's promise there. So it's not like, okay, we're giving this guy a ton of money, but we haven't seen anything. And I will admit, with that was the difference with Justin Fields. Like, and it's not necessarily they didn't see anything from him, but to see that on a consistent, basis where he could be the reason why why the Bears won. And, so that was tough. And that's why now, obviously, Pittsburgh hasn't given him, the keys to the team yet, or even that big contract. You have to have, you have to be able to prove it. And Jordan Love did prove it in some important times. Now we'll see if it was a fluke or if it was just kind of, going on a run just toward the end, or was did things click for the rest of his career now? So it's going to be interesting just to see how it all plays out. When you look at the Packers and their quarterbacks and, Rodgers, and now even with the Jets, like not participating in a training camp, how much does that set him back if he's not there the full time?
Rodgers?
No, not now. Love, so now
actually, yeah, I subscribe to the fact that you need to be there, that you need to be doing the reps. I believe that you need to be there. So I'm trying not to have an exception to the rule here. But what I do like about this situation is he's not away from the facilities. He's literally on the field. He's literally having conversations. What it does do is it helps our backup quarterbacks to get more reps. Lord forbid if there's an injury. But I do think continuing to have chemistry is very important. That's one thing that bothered me about Rodgers is he just I don't know what he thought. Like it just felt like he didn't think the reps were that important. His talent could carry them. I don't think Jordan Love is in the same caliber at this stage. So I think it's important. How crucial is it? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not there, but people are he's there. He's on the field. Most of those guys don't even enter into the building. So I don't know. I feel like there's a little bit of a difference here. That Gutekunst and him are on the field joking around, like,
yeah. So there's not animosity, not like what was happening. Like even with back to Brett Favre with the Vikings when he was with the Vikings, it was kind of like he wasn't even there, and then he shows up and all that. Or even Rodgers, the posturing that he was having the last few years in Green Bay either. So at least there's not like it doesn't seem like there's this huge chasm. I think you're right, or just a few minor details and few things to get ironed out. Obviously last year he had all those reps. I remember going to the training camp and seeing all those reps, live and with the young receivers. And so they know that he can actually direct the team. But hopefully for the Packers, I think, the Packers have been an organization that, I don't know, has seemed to want to do things on the cheap, haven't they? I mean, they kind of, but you just have to kind of bite the bullet and say, okay, well, this is our ride or die. We have to have a quarterback, especially in Green Bay. He's shown promise. Let's roll with him, and I don't know if there's like things that they're trying to build in, like, if they can get outs after a couple years or all the guaranteed money or whatever it is. But, you just have to roll with it.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they're doing. So yeah, I just have no worry about it at all at this stage. I there's nothing about this situation I'm nervous about. But I do wish he was taking reps. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. I think the bigger question, and everyone wants to know, is how much and for how long, right? It's not a matter is he going to sign? Like, is he going to hold out for the year? I doubt it, right? Like, he wants to play as much as everyone else does, and maybe the Green Bay Packers, I thought it'd be done by this weekend. Someone just reported today it might be weeks. I'm like, come on now. It might be. And that's concerning. But if you look at the stats of the contracts, okay, Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence are tied at $55 million each a season, right? You have Jared Goff at third at 53, Justin 52.5, Lamar Jackson 52, Jalen Hurts 51. Okay, so those are all the guys. The top six are over $50 million per season. Kyler Murray's next. Deshaun Watson's next, 46. And then you got Patrick MVP Mahomes, Super Bowl champion Mahomes, 45. His contract doesn't end until 2031, dude.
Wow.
Making 45 a year. Kirk Cousins just tied him. And then it's Josh Allen that's at 43. And you start looking. And the reason why I'm bringing up all these numbers, you got Prescott, Stafford, Daniel Jones at 40. Derek Carr, get this, $37.5 million.
Crazy.
Until next season.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, 37, and then this is where it drops. So that's at 15, okay? That's the top 15 paid quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield drops to 33, Geno Smith, 25, and Jordan Love, number 19 on the list, makes $13.5 million, just above Gardner Minshew, Sam Darnold, Caleb Williams, who is just under $10 million. By the way, that's a smoking deal for Caleb.
Hey, I like it. I'm excited, and we'll talk about him in a second. I want to ask you. So kind of you brought up all the quarterback list there. Where would you rank right now Jordan Love?
Well, I think what it is it's not necessarily like where he ranks right now. I just think you are not only signing him for now, but you're signing him for the future. And I think like when you're looking at some of these contracts like Deshaun Watson and even Herbert, like when's the next time that the Chargers are going to be good? When's the next time that Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be good? Those are your top. Lawrence's number is tied for first. Justin Herbert's number 4. It's just hard to sit there and go, So he's got to be up there, right? And is that what's holding it back? Is it that he wants $56 million for the next 5 years, or is it that he wants like what is it? Does the Packers want to give him like 50? You know what I mean? Is he asking for 60 million? Like, is he trying to break? I don't understand what's going on. There's no real rumors about what the numbers are.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I'm having to. So if no, okay, this is what I said on my podcast last night with
Mm-hmm.
Miles from Weekly Packer Podcast.
Miles Teddick, yep. Great guy.
Yeah,
yep.
He's awesome, by the way. That was a killer show last night. It was so amazing. It was I've had so many great shows lately, but that one was really fun. And I just said to him, like, no matter what happens, Andy, no matter what happens, the rest of the league's going to laugh.
Oh, with Jordan Love,
whatever he gets, like, because we know he's going to get over 46 million, right? And everyone's going to laugh because everyone's going to use the incorrect statement that he's only played good for half a season, right? But what we don't realize is you have to pay him that because that's the going rate. And I'm thinking that he's going to be like, I hope that we can get under 55 or around 50, but I'm worried that it might be 60. And then it doesn't matter. Whatever he gets will be the next person will get higher. Next person will get higher. Because when the salary cap goes up, so does the quarterback salaries. That's Absolutely. What really goes up.
Well, that's why I wonder if it's not necessarily the per year salary, or it's more like the years and guaranteed money, all of that. Because when you look at it, he's done well for part of last season, right? He had if he maybe has an opt out after a couple of years and he just continues to improve, maybe he has a chance to up that if it's 3 years or whatever after that amount of time when it goes up. So obviously there's a lot smarter people that are kind of trying to figure all this stuff out and know more of the details. But for the genuine just a regular fan like us, I think most of us for our teams, we want the best players to be signed. He's gonna be signed. It's not like he's gonna be a holdout or anything. They're gonna get something done. It's just what it ends up being and the timetable. And I think obviously the Packers aren't worried. Gutekunst is not worried that it's gonna get done. It seems like Jordan Love's not worried. Go ahead.
But what's the holdup? Okay, you're making $13.5 million, and even if they give you 50, like why are you not signing on the dotted line?
Yeah,
and I get it. You have an agent trying to get as much money as he can as well through it. I guess I know there's family members. I get that. I just don't understand. It's like, really, like where are we at here, people? Now, Andy, what do you think Jordan Love will sign for, and for how many years? I'm really interested to know what you think there.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be 50. And I think he is. I mean, gosh, what is the regular going rate for a quarterback as far as years wise? Like,
it's about 4 or 5 years. Just looking at these contracts, they're usually they're almost all 5. Some are there's a couple that are 4. There's one that's 6 with Josh Allen, but there's a 10-year contract with Patrick Mahomes. Right?
Oh, well, yeah, that's a no-brainer for him. I mean, for the Chiefs, for what he's brought. See, that's the thing too. Obviously we look at production on quarterbacks, but you also think about like the marketing, everything that goes along with player, like the Justin Jefferson contract, right? I mean, huge, right? Or but not only is he the best wide receiver in the NFL, but marketing-wise, what he does for the team. I mean, that's just, it's insane how many jerseys he sells. Even going to the Vikings training camp. I mean, they got, how to doing the gritty on the wall, part of the training camp. And so that's huge. He is marketable. Jordan Love is getting there. Right.
Yeah,
but
totally.
I obviously a quarterback of the Green Bay Packers is going to have that. I don't know if he's as kind of outspoken or he's found his voice that way quite yet, but he's going to mean a lot to the franchise. So whatever it is, it's going to be worth it to the Packers in the moment. Now, if he falters at all,
Right.
it's going to be the sky is falling.
Totally.
But when you look at it, so I was looking at PFF too. So this is the question. I was wondering what your thoughts were as a Packer fan. I'm gonna ask you some of these quarterbacks, and I want you to answer whether you would take Love or this other quarterback. All right,
okay.
so
No problem.
No brainers. Top 5, obviously. Are Patrick Mahomes. I mean, you'd rather take Patrick Mahomes on your team, right?
Yes.
Lamar Jackson or Love?
I love Lamar Jackson,
Mm.
but let me just see his age for a minute here. So he's 26.
So here's the notes. 3 quarterbacks have won
24.
MVP.
Pardon me?
3 quarterbacks have won MVP since 2018. Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson each twice. He's won it twice.
Yeah, I think he's talented. I think he's a running quarterback more than a passing quarterback. So I see the value in both those guys. I just like I like the future. I mean, if you're saying who's better right now, the answer is Lamar Jackson. Who I want going forward, I could see there's an argument for Jordan Love. I just think there's an argument. I mean, there's potential that he could be. I cannot believe how good he was in year 1. Like, honestly, shocking to me. So I would say I'll go with Lamar Jackson on the answer, but I had to explain that a little bit.
PFF has Lamar Jackson as the second-rated quarterback in the elite tier 2. All right. Ranked third, Joe Burrow. Obviously, you would take Joe Burrow over Love.
I would take Joe Burrow. I love that guy. I think he's a stone cold killer.
This might be an interesting one now. Josh Allen.
I like Josh Allen a lot. I just don't. I just did a video with my friend Peter. By the way, I just did 3 videos on fantasy football, and we had this big debate between Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, and I just have this issue with everyone poo-pooing on Patrick Mahomes and his productivity and like his arm strength, but we don't and it's because he has no wide receivers. Now Josh Allen has no wide receivers, and we're not changing his ranking at all. So
I agree. So
the thing that I say, the reason why I'm hesitating here is it's the answer is probably Josh Allen, because if he was in our system with our wide receivers, I think he would have monster numbers, right?
Okay.
So I love that about Josh Allen. What I don't like is he is not very accurate. He was one of the leading interception guys last year with 18. And
he did all right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I hesitate, but I think that Josh Allen is a better quarterback at this moment, no problem, than Jordan Love. He just is a better quarterback. I just think I do not know what he's going to do this year. I would not be surprised if he regresses this year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, he led the NFL in big time throws last season, playoffs included, with 41.
That's cool.
Turnover worthy player rate was 2.9%. So he was productive. He adds that rushing capability, 18 rushing touchdowns, most of any quarterback last year. All right, Justin Herbert.
I would take Jordan Love, and I love Justin Herbert. I love Justin Herbert.
Okay. Justin Herbert's an interesting case, right? I think he gets a ton of love. No pun intended. He gets a ton of love, and he can make all throws, strong throws, but he has not done anything really in the clutch yet, other than a few games, right? But playoffs. And it's going to be interesting for him in a John Harbaugh offense, which is run heavy, right? I don't, fantasy wise, I don't know if I'm going to, in a redraft league, if I'm going to stay anywhere near Justin Herbert. I just don't want anything, especially with even less wide receivers. Ladd McConkey is going to be his best. And I like Ladd McConkey, right? But he's a rookie, so that they're going to this year rely on the run. And so that may knock him down a peg if he's not able to really, put up big numbers this year.
When's the last time Justin Herbert was good? There was a season where he was the fifth best running quarterbacks in fantasy, and then he's fallen off a map since then. And a lot of it has to do with injuries. Slater, the left tackle went down with a massive injury. His wide receivers have been dropping left, right, and center. So it hasn't always been his fault. They have not had the team around him as well. But you're right. He has done very little with a lot of hype. And I see, like you do, his talent.
So you said you are taking Jordan Love over Herbert.
I know. Okay. And my friend Peter would just lose it right now if he heard me say that.
Now this is a really
wouldn't you do that?
No, I'm taking Justin Herbert. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Just he's done it over more years.
Okay.
Done
what? Really?
Thrown the ball. Oh, he's been a starter. So he's done it with hurt talent with Joshua Palmer, right? These no-name wide receivers. So he's done it.
No. Brood, that's just recently. Listen. Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
we're talking Keenan Allen, who I think is amazing. You have Mike Williams that was there, and there was a third guy
injured though. Yeah,
that was solid. Yeah, for sure. But what I'm saying is that right now there's nothing compared to what he is, a shell of what he had. But he's in the past had wide receivers, and he still didn't do what he should have done. And I don't know if it's because there's no defense there. I don't know what the problem is in LA. But I think Justin Herbert is a super talented quarterback. I just there needs to be a day where it's like you got to do something. Like we can't get into 10 years in the league and you still haven't made the playoffs. You still haven't won a playoff game. And I just think Jordan Love's won a playoff game and it was his first year. Like at the end of the day, it's just a fact. It's not like me being biased, but like Dan Marino made it to the Super Bowl, right? Joe Montana won 4 Super Bowls. You got to start asking yourself these questions. You're super talented. Maybe you're in the wrong system. Maybe you should just demand a trade, right? If you're Justin Herbert, you're like, I gotta go.
I don't know. He's LA all the way. It will be interesting to see him pairing with Harbaugh. Maybe he gets frustrated.
Maybe that'll be awesome.
So a very controversial quarterback. So we're playing the game Jordan Love or here now. And so Jordan Love or Dak Prescott. I know your answer to this one. This is a no-brainer.
I like Dak. I'm not a hater of Dak. I just he again comes down to the big games and he fails. So he smoked Jordan Love in a lot of stats last year. So I want to give him some props. And they didn't really have, in my opinion, this is a thing that people bash Dak. I don't know. Do you want these long of answers or you just want like quick?
Yeah, no, I enjoy this because
okay. So here's I'm giving you so much information, but last year, Dak Prescott had CeeDee Lamb and who? Right?
Yeah.
It's like Zeke Elliott was horrific, or wasn't even there, right? Zeke Elliott wasn't even there. You had Pollard, who had a bad year. You have Ferguson, he's okay.
Did he have Gallup still too, right?
Pardon me?
Gallup, he had Michael Gallup as well.
Yeah, who just retired.
Yeah.
Like, so what I'm saying is he had a monster year and he had one wide receiver. Everyone's like, oh, they had Brandon Cooks. Like, really?
Yeah.
Look at the stats. It's like Dak threw to CeeDee Lamb. It's like Kirk Cousins just had vision for Jefferson and didn't throw it. It was Rodgers throwing it to Devontae Adams. They just threw it to their best players. Smart move, right? But what I love about Jordan Love is he spreads the ball around, and I'm not. So I know Dallas fans are probably losing their minds right now, me saying this, but like, I don't know, man. Like you keep losing the big games. Like it was Jordan Love versus Dak Prescott. Who won that game?
Aaron Jones.
You love that answer. It's so awesome. I love it.
PFF has Dak Prescott at number 6 in the rankings here. So we're just kind of going down.
Fine.
Yeah. So
just as a reminder, though, in that game, Jordan Love had 272 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Right? That's pretty impressive, right? Can we not just give him a little bit of credit there? Playoff game on the road against the number 2 seed. That defense was legitimate for most of the year. Scary, dangerous, good, and then something happened, and
I think one of the cornerbacks went down. Didn't one of their
right.
Yeah, I do like love me some Dak. Like as far as in fantasy, he's kind of sneaky good. I actually here would I'm still taking Dak. You know what I mean? I'm still taking Dak. All right,
and I don't think it's wrong. I think it's splitting hairs.
It is. It can be. Yeah. Speaking of quarterback that can split hairs, Matthew Stafford or Jordan
Love him. Love Matthew Stafford. Have a lot of respect for him. Age-wise, I wouldn't be trading for him. It's just he's at the end. Jordan's at the beginning. So I'm going Jordan Love there. Who's the better, more talented quarterback? I think you could say it could be either one of those two. But I'll go for Jordan Love because of just age and potential.
Oh, okay. I get it. All right.
I mean, he's a Super Bowl champ, right? Stafford is. So
yeah, and some of the throws that he can make, he's got command of that. And
he's amazing.
He's done it. Amazing. But yeah, I get it. He's a little bit older.
And his wide receiver core is stacked. You got Puka, Nakua, and Cooper Kupp, and wow, are you kidding
Well, at this time last year, we weren't really saying that. I mean, we didn't know Puka.
Nobody knew.
No, but yeah, he's got a lot of talent around it. So no, speaking of quarterback of age,
I know who
ranked number 8 in PFF rankings, Aaron Rodgers. Would you take Jordan Love or Aaron Rodgers?
Again, same argument with Stafford. I'm going Love just because of youth. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers even lasts the full year in health. But if he's healthy, guy, bro, you know what the hype is on the Jets right now? That defense is supposed to be legit.
Oh, yeah.
They think that offense, if Breece Hall and Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy, they're going to tear it up. So, I mean, I think so too. It's hard. It's got to be Aaron Rodgers as the answer if you're going with all the stats from the past, 4-time MVP, Super Bowl champ, all those things. But I'm talking about this year and years going forward. Give me some Jordan Love. But Aaron Rodgers is my favorite player of all time. I love Aaron Rodgers. And I don't miss his diva drama. But, man, it's also been a little boring in Green Bay, so I kind of miss it a little bit.
So this may surprise you. So, and we've kind of been, asking the question almost out of context. Would you have this quarterback or this quarterback? For the Green Bay Packers, if I was a Green Bay Packer fan, I would take Jordan Love over Aaron Rodgers. Here's why. Aaron Rodgers has the talent. I would probably be more scared overall Aaron Rodgers against my Bears, just because he's done it before. He's got that. Yeah. He's done it multiple years. I think Jordan Love is a better fit for Matt LaFleur, his offense and what he wants to do. He plays within what Matt LaFleur wants, and Aaron Rodgers. And if I'm going to use this term, but in jest, but the Achilles heel for Aaron Rodgers this year, I think will be, can he be coached, right? Or is he just say, this is my show, I'm going to do it. I've done it before, which he's talented, right? But just playing within a system can also help too in those moments. I think for the Packers, I would take Jordan Love over Aaron Rodgers.
If we're talking one season, I could see a lot of people saying, yeah, it's Aaron Rodgers and it's not close. But I just remember the last time I saw Aaron Rodgers, I saw him throwing an interception against the Lions, and he just didn't get it done. And he's older now. He's had a massive injury. And so I hope that all the best for him. But I mean, wouldn't it be awesome? Jets, Packers Super Bowl, man. Bears fans would be happy, eh?
I'm gonna skip that Super Bowl. I'm gonna go to the Golden Corral and eat myself to sleep. So, speaking of something else that hurts, Jalen Hurts or Jordan Love.
Two different players, in my opinion. I love the mobility of Jalen Hurts. I do think losing Jason Kelce hurts. But again, he's got so much talent around him. He had 15 rushing touchdowns. You know that him and Josh Allen had 15 rushing touchdowns?
Third consecutive season for Hurts having at least 10 rushing touchdowns. Yep.
It's insane. So two different kinds of players. I think you have to go Jalen Hurts here. Did I say Josh Allen was better than Jordan Love? I think I did. Right?
You did.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm going to stick with both those guys. There's a reason why in fantasy Hurts is going, in the top 3. I'll go with Hurts on that one.
So on this very show, Seventh Letter said that Jordan Love is better than Jalen Hurts. And I think because Jalen Hurts had that roller coaster year last year, I think people are forgetting how good he is. I think, and I think that it's, when you have a young quarterback that, does good like he did, right? Led the team to the Super Bowl. I mean, they were just rolling, until they had a loss here, and then they led him to the Super Bowl. Then it was rolling and just then, fell off last year. It's just back and forth. I mean, that's a Super Bowl hangover, right? I think people are not going to give Jalen Hurts enough credit this year. He could be top 5, just with his rushing ability, with his continuing to grow with his accuracy. I love me some Jalen Hurts. I'm going to take Jalen Hurts over Jordan Love here. He's done it longer, led a team to the Super Bowl. So, yeah.
And Seventh Letter, I love his love, but he's just traumatized because we torched him in Thanksgiving, and then we went and we beat the Chiefs the next week. And I really like what he says about Jordan Love. Like, he goes, when he gets on a roll, he's dangerous. I think the best pass that he made last year was the one against Detroit, where he chucked it in between the whole, I don't know how he got it to Jaden Reed. That was insane. All the traffic there hit him in the hands or the chest, whatever. But I understand what he's saying, but I think you and I are like, no, Jalen Hurts is better than what people say, and he's legit. He's gotten too much hate, in my opinion.
Speaking of legit, PFF has him ranked as the 10th best quarterback in the NFL. Would you take Jordan Love or CJ Stroud?
Yeah, this one's the toughest one for me because I like them. I like them both. So I've thought about this a lot, and I don't know who I'd take. Now, here's the reason why I might lean CJ Stroud at this stage. The reason why is there's a reason why he got drafted so high. And Jordan Love has taken time. So it's interesting because they're both young, but CJ Stroud is younger and had a monster season. So in a great situation, great wide receivers around him. Now they just got a pass catching running back who's a little bit older there. You still have Dalton Schultz. I really like CJ Stroud a lot. So if you're giving me a dynasty league and you're saying you got to take one or the other, I'm happy with either one of these guys. But I'll give the nod. to CJ Stroud.
All right.
But I do believe it's either or. It's not hard. Now, the thing is that Jordan Love actually had a better statistical year than CJ Stroud did last year. And that's what people forget. Jordan Love was the second highest touchdowns in the league last year. The second highest. I mean, let's give him some credit, right? And he struggled for many weeks, not half the season, but a number of weeks he struggled. And so that is something that's really important to me. So I could see people saying Jordan Love. I just think like if any Packers fans are watching this, they're probably just ripping their hair out right now and saying, "What kind of fan are you?" But that's the thing about me.
Got to be honest about it.
I'm a passionate, realistic fan. And I have no problem. I don't attain to the you have to be biased. You always have to pick Jordan Love or you always have to pick the Packers to win the Super Bowl. It's like if we do, that's great. I don't think we're there yet, but boy, I could see a scenario where we're close, but maybe we falter. I don't know. All I know is I think CJ Stroud is a super talented quarterback. And I think that I would just slightly have him ahead of Jordan Love.
So here's another quarterback that's I feel like is going to be a make or break season. He was number one pick, got the big contract, super talented. Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love or Trevor Lawrence?
It's Jordan Love, and I'll tell you why.
Ooh,
Trevor Lawrence has had a number of years to prove the hype. That is going to turn out to be potentially the worst quarterback class in the history of the NFL, maybe. Because Trevor Lawrence is the only guy that's quote unquote panned out. Mm-hmm. I just don't know in that system if he's as good as he's been billed. Again, it comes down to the whole Justin Herbert. How many years do you have to have before we see some real impressive plays, real impressive seasons? Mm-hmm. I just don't see it there. Has he won a playoff game yet? I mean, he might have won one.
Right? Yes, he did. Yes. They
won one, which, okay, I mean, he's in the same spot as Jordan Love that way. I don't know. I like Trevor Lawrence. I just don't love him. I like CJ Stroud better than him. I like Joe Burrow way better than him. I mean, like, I just think Trevor Lawrence is just, I don't know. Show me, Trevor. Prove me wrong, Trevor. But give me
so he's had Love. The flashes. He's had flashes of doing well, but he's also had flashes of just fumbling the football and just not being able to produce. And so that defense for years has I think bailed him out as well. PFF has him ranked 12th,
ahead of Jordan Love.
No. Jordan Love's 11th. I didn't announce that. PFF has Jordan Love at 11th. All right.
That's respectable.
Now, I think I know your answer. Jordan Love or Brock Purdy?
I like Purdy. I think he's in the right environment. I think if he was in Green Bay, he wouldn't do what he's doing. I think if Jordan Love was in I think if Jordan Love was in the 49ers, they would have won the Super Bowl last year. I know that sounds wild, but they are loaded with talent.
That tracks with my argument as well from last year. If Jordan Love was on the Bears, he would have done so good.
I think you could say that this year because you guys actually have weapons now.
Now we have weapons. So I'm excited. I also would take, I a lot of people are, especially 49ers fans, and I love me some 49ers, love George Kittle, love that they're the Packer killers, love it. But I'm going to have to take, Jordan Love over Brock Purdy. I just think there is more potential for Jordan Love than Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, he is in the right system. With the right coach, with talent around him. And I think he's been able to, use his he's got that moxie, he's got that, but how many times has he actually been asked to win the game? He's made some big throws. I think that's good. But I'm going to take Jordan Love over Brock Purdy. I think the rest of them are kind of no-brainers. I take Jordan Love over Tua.
I like Tua a lot too. I could see people picking Tua. I'll just give Jordan the slight edge there.
Yeah. Now, being with the draft in Detroit, Detroit loves them some Jared Goff. Would you take Jordan Love or Jared Goff?
Jared Goff has a lot of talent and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
No disrespect to Jared Goff, but
Mm-hmm.
when I look at him, like Jordan Love had better stats last year in his first year as a starter. Like, how is that even possible?
Mm-hmm.
So I like Jared Goff. I don't think a lot of people respect Jared Goff. I feel like I respect him a lot more than most people do. I feel like it's like Lions fans and then everyone else hates him. You know what
It was
I mean?
crazy. It was crazy because we went to the Tigers game, right the last day of the draft, and everyone was chanting Jared Goff. It was nuts. They
cool.
complete love and good for him, right? He had all this promise with the Rams. He had some good games, but McVay just didn't trust him. And I think he's in the right situation, and he's maximizing his talent where he's at. He's got a lot of talent around him, and I think he's where he needs to be. I actually would take Jared Goff though over Jordan Love.
Okay.
And just what he's done, obviously.
Yeah.
So,
and surrounded by a very good team too, right? So,
yeah, absolutely. And so, all right, we've really talked a lot about Jordan Love. I didn't do that on purpose. I didn't really want to talk about it. I think it's kind of interesting to talk. Obviously, now I have you here as a Packer fan, and I appreciate because you're honest about that. There's a lot of Packer fans you talk about, and they're like, "I'll take Jordan Love MVP," and like even if he has a fantastic season, he's not winning MVP. He would, example, Jalen Hurts, he balled out, right? Did he win MVP?
No.
So I feel like with the MVP vote,
but okay,
cumulative,
yeah, you're right.
Like
who got MVP?
Patrick
Mahomes,
right?
It was Lamar Jackson, right?
Oh, Jackson, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so here's the crazy thing: Lamar Jackson had less stats than Jalen Hurts. Less. The only place where he was better, in my opinion, was two categories: interceptions, which was half. That's pretty important. But the rushing yards was only 200 yards more, right? What it came down to was it just like the team record? But they were both similar, weren't they? Like, how did Jalen Hurts not win it?
I think it was, that's the thing. I feel like it is a cumulative. Like you can't, in so many leagues, you can burst onto the scene and be NFL MVP. And maybe I have to look at it, but I can remember back when Kurt Warner, I don't even know if he won it that year. They burst on the scene in '99 in those classic blue and yellow jerseys, and just went on their first run and got their first Super Bowl. I feel like he didn't even win it. I'd have to look, but he had Marshall Faulk. He had all these players around him. So it's a cumulative. Like, now if Jordan Love does well, he can be in the conversation. Like I remember talking about, Jalen Hurts being in the conversation. I will, if he does well, he can be in the conversation. But it takes a lot to win the MVP, and you got those top players. I even think maybe Joe Burrow, if he has a great season and if it's back and forth, since he has done it longer, he may get more votes. And obviously I don't have a vote and I'm not in those rooms where people are making those decisions, but it just has seemed, absolutely fun. But it seems like that's the case, right? You can't just be like, like I'm never going to be one that's going to put money down on a dark horse to win an NFL award, right? Maybe some of the other positions, right? But a lot of it's cumulative, and you just kind of look at it as a whole.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. So I think you and I are both in the same spot. We think that Jalen Hurts got robbed from MVP last year over Lamar
Jackson. Not last year, the year before, though. Last year was up and down, so it was the year before that he had that year.
Oh, okay. Well, he still had a good year. Okay, so I'll be with you. I'll go with you. But I think that Jordan Love got robbed this year from the Pro Bowl. He had
I would
better
agree on that.
stats
Absolutely.
than Geno Smith. Better stats.
Mm-hmm.
He had better. They had more wins as a team. He was way better than Geno Smith, and somehow Geno Smith got on. I'm still mad about. I think I'm going to be mad about that till the day I die.
Well, and unless he has the Packers win the Super Bowl, I'm sure you'll forget about it.
Probably not.
Oh,
I just think I just don't understand it. There's no logic. There's zero logic why Geno Smith went to the Pro Bowl over Jordan Love. And it's not based on past. It's based on the one season. So I understand if you want to do MVP and it has to be like you've earned your stripes, but not when it comes to Pro Bowl. It is not. There's nothing about Geno Smith's season last year. Like, talk to Seahawks fans. They were so disappointed. And they had a ton of talent. They had JSN there and Tyler Lockett and Metcalf, and you still don't put up the numbers. I'm just saying that it doesn't make any sense. 0 sense to me.
I agree. Well, let's kind of move on to the rants are good, but let's move on to the Bears. We've talked a little bit too much Packers. I'm excited for Caleb Williams. There's obviously news out of camp that the defense is really stepping up. I'm really excited for this Bears defense. They really turned around the second half of the season, and we're really obviously, the sweat effect, having Montez Sweat there really helped the DBs. I think the Bears have one of the best DB groups in the NFC and possibly even in the NFL, and they're really kind of growing there as well. So overall defense, in this we're out of camp that obviously the defense is really looking great. Obviously, it's early on, but in these moments that Caleb Williams is meeting and even beating some of the expectations with the defense. So this time of the NFL off season, a lot of it's mental and so it's not like the physical. You're going to move the ball down the field that way. But it's the mental. And I think this is what makes quarterbacks, whether it be Jordan Love or whatever quarterbacks that are successful in the NFL, it's the mental reps and going against a good defense and being able to find ways to beat that defense and find ways to exploit the defense. And I think it's just like they talk about iron sharpens iron, right? And maybe this is what I think the Packers are missing, right? Jordan Love had that, great second half of the season, now to catapult on that in the offseason, those mental reps to kind of say, yes, I can do this and prove to the guys that you can do that. And I think that's what obviously you never know off season, but it seems like that's what media and everyone is saying about Caleb Williams, that, the defense is first team defense is showing out, but Caleb Williams, even as a young rookie, is starting to really, adjust and find those ways to be successful. And so that's what I'm excited about. And just that all the talent is there, just the ball comes out, crisper, and it's just, different. And me, I love me some Justin Fields. But the truth is the talent is just that much better with Caleb Williams. And it seems like he's able to process things better. Obviously there's going to be a lot of questions until he actually proves it in the game. I'll give you that, but we're at camp. Obviously, that he's really stepping his game up.
Yeah, and he should be, right. Like, there's a reason why he was number 1 overall, and it was the consensus. I didn't see very many people saying that they should have drafted Jaden Daniels or Drake May, or you know what I mean. It was like consensus. So. I know that like when Justin Fields moved on and that whole thing, I mean, that was hard. You've invested a lot into him. Like you defended him a lot, but hindsight 2020 now, we're all just kind of feeling, yeah, that was the right move, right? And you've surrounded him with such talent. Like, for me, bro, and like I need to be like really realistic with this. You've got the consensus number 1 quarterback with you added Keenan Allen. I'm a huge Keenan Allen fan. I love his route running. I love his ability, right? But then you added Adunez. Oh my
Odunze,
goodness,
yep.
dude! The talk about Aduñas coming out of camp, talk about Aduñas at the draft was like, this guy is gonna be special. And so if he
Mhm.
turns out to be that, it is concerning. Like I literally think that the Bears are now turning a corner. And you and I talked about this. You said a number of years ago it's going to take 3 years. And then all of a sudden you changed your tune and you said, no, it's going to be this, we're going to be faster. And then last year, like, we're going to make the playoffs. I'm like, this year is the first year where I'm like, I could see the Bears making the playoffs because that offense potentially can be dangerous. Like, what do you like? Are you trying to like? People are not drafting Caleb Williams high in redraft leagues, right? Like, you can get him as your second quarterback. Like, there's a world out there. Like, he could be like CJ Stroud.
Oh, absolutely. There's the potential there. And, in the Bears offense, he doesn't even have to be that, right? But you have the playmakers. And really, I mean, you can get the ball to them in space and they're going to do something, right? And I think the Bears offense, if they're smart, they'll kind of, do what they tried to do with Justin Fields in the preseason last year, right? They, try to get, the ball to DJ Moore and, and in space and DJ Moore was able to make things happen. So I think that they may do a lot more of that, just to get him going. DeAndre Swift, I think, is going to be solid. Rashawn Johnson could end up being the long-term starter as well, depending on Swift's health. But, I am excited because, I mean, when you have a lot of talent around around your quarterback, in fantasy, then sometimes it makes it tough to pick one wide receiver. But I mean, if you're going to pick the quarterback, then you're going to get all those yards regardless. So I think there's a ton of potential for him to have, a great fantasy season, let alone a great season as a whole as well. So I'm excited to see, and I don't. Typically, I'm not like an HBO guy, right? I used to be back in the day, but I'm really leaning towards getting a subscription just to see on Hard Knocks, and I think just to hear him in the huddle and hear everything kind of on just behind the scenes, right? And I believe August 6th is when it's going to premiere, right? So I think I'm excited to see that part of it, and just how much different it has been. And like I, as a Bears fan, I do have to say, like, whether it's the Lions or Packers, being a little bit jealous of an organization that does things the right way, and continues to build. I think, and I know a lot of Packer fans like to kind of rag on the Bears and thinking they're going to screw up another quarterback or whatever. But if you honestly look at the structure of this organization now, and just the intelligence that we have there with Ryan Poles compared to what we had, it's not perfect by any means, but it's night and day from what we've had in the past. And just the structure, having Ian Cunningham as the assistant GM and just starting to do things right and starting to build the team right at the right time. It's been amazing. And so that's excitement that way. You look at this roster, offense and defense, and what they were last year without some of those pieces, they were close, so it's not hard for me to say 9-8, 10-7, to be it's in possible. That mix. It is. So, I mean, obviously it really depends, you got to get a fast start. You got to, really get Caleb Williams into it, but there's a really potential there. So, I'm excited for a lot of that. But, mainly I think I'm just excited to see the behind the scenes, and the Bears are a team now that's everyone's talking about, right? And not for negative reasons. Like even last year it started off the negative reasons because they had a couple coaches have to be fired and it was just crazy. So I'm excited that there's positive vibe. Yes. There's a positive vibe around the Bears and there's potential.
So when's the last time as a Bears fan you were this excited going into a season?
This excited. I mean, me, I was excited last year. I was excited because I thought it was Justin Fields' time to ascend, right? And as you know, really quickly, week 1, the bubble was burst.
Yeah.
I'd
That was a
have
great
to,
game.
honestly, I'd have to say it'd have to be back to the Devin Hester years, right? And that Super Bowl run, because that you knew the defense was dominant. Lovie Smith is just, an amazing coach. All the pieces were there other than the quarterback. Any other quarterback, and we would have won that Super Bowl. So that's probably because it was, I remember, just being out of so many games, but you have Devin Hester in that defense and just turn it around just like that. It's so exciting. So that's probably the last time I've been that excited, or this excited, having all this talent around the offensive side of the ball and the defense. It just, it doesn't even really compare to, Trubisky taking the Bears. It was hard to really get excited about Trubisky. Great guy, but milquetoast.
You probably would have been that excited if you guys would have drafted Deshaun Watson instead of Trubisky.
Maybe.
I think your fan base was really shocked by that pick, because I know I was. But Deshaun Watson was supposed to be the no-brainer. Some people thought Mahomes, but most people had Deshaun Watson. And if he didn't screw up and do all his weird stuff there, he was really phenomenal. That would have been, I think your whole franchise would have been more excited. That's where it's been a while, right?
Well, yeah, and actually, now that you kind of think about it, actually, the last time I was, with when we got Jay Cutler, I was like, oh, okay, it's on.
Yeah.
Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall, just having those.
Very good.
Jay Cutler probably is still one of my favorite Bears quarterbacks. He, so I think
he's got to be the greatest Bears quarterback, honestly, right? Statistically speaking, all that stuff. Some people say, well, it's Jim McMahon because he won a Super Bowl. And it's no, you had Walter Payton and the one of the greatest defenses in the whole league. So I think Jay Cutler was your best. Now, I know you were excited last year, Andy, for last season, and I know the bubble got burst. But here's the thing. When you're thinking about last year and how excited you are, and you look at this team now, you have to be way more excited this year. You with all that talent and all that potential. And people are going to be watching this going, Trevor, are you a Bears fan or you're a Packers fan? No, I'm just saying, just from an outsider looking in, I can understand why Bears fans are so excited. They have to do it. They have to earn it. There's no one's going to give them nothing. But potentially they look the best they've looked in maybe 20 years, 15 years.
And I'm not saying, I'm not on the extreme saying, okay, the Bears are going to the Super Bowl. There's so much seasoning that needs to happen. But, you look at, there's still some holes, but looking at this year, Montez Sweat, just having that pass rusher, that was the big question, in the draft. Were they going to draft a pass rusher, and what were they going to do with that? And so to get Montez Sweat and lock him up, huge, right? And
huge.
And then I was excited about their offensive line draft, last year, right? And so now to have another year of him, and what they've added in the interior offensive line. So it's not probably the best in the NFL, but it's better than it has been, and it was improved.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a lot more pieces. I think it's hard to get to say, okay, we're gonna do this or that. I am anxiously awaiting what happens versus Green Bay. Is that week 11, I believe, right?
I think it's really weird that it's they push that game so late.
It is. There's going to be drama, right? I think, especially if both teams are in contention, right? But I think, even if the Bears are, when their bye is, but if they're 9-1 or whatever, I'm still going to be anxious about that game, and I'm excited, but just to be that first team that beats the Packers after a number of years, and starts to kind of get that monkey off the back. I think this coaching staff needs it. I think Caleb Williams is the quarterback to do it because he doesn't really care. It's interesting. Like even you have some of the players, Jalen Johnson, some of these players come into his defense saying, I don't know what, the media hype was. They talked to him. He's a decent guy. There's just a lot of hype because he just doesn't care. He just does his own thing. And I think that's what it's going to take to break that, streak versus the Packers. And I hate to say it, but if Caleb Williams beats the Packers twice this year, Chicago might build a statue for him.
Really? No,
I don't know. You know how frustrated it is, like losing the Packers, but it's going to be like, there might be talk already, about that. If that happens, I mean, obviously it's not going to happen. Right. It's not going to happen. The statue is not going to happen. But obviously the Bears can't beat the Packers twice. But
what's great is, I think, Andy, what people don't talk enough about is the parity that's in the league. Mm-hmm. Like it's to be a team that misses the playoffs. You might have been there. You know what I mean? Like you might have been there, but you lost those 3 games that were, 3 points or less. People don't talk enough about that. There's a lot of parity. And even for Green Bay, for example, like we won some of those games we shouldn't have, right?
Yeah.
But we're going to build on that success. And look at Detroit, right? They go from like being one of the worst. In fact, 2 years ago, they had the worst team in the NFL after the first half and turned it around. Didn't make the playoffs, but came very close, went on a tear in the second half. Then you watch them last year and they look legitimate. And I'm just saying it doesn't take, with the right decisions, it doesn't take long to turn a franchise around. But there's a couple of those key moments that just sink teams. I think the Trubisky thing sunk the Bears for longer than they needed to get sunk. But that could have happened. That could have happened in Green Bay. That could have happened in what?
Oh, did I lose you? We got you frozen here.
Here we go.
Oh, there.
Do.
I can hear you. We can hear you here. But all right, there we go. I got you now. All right, we can hear you. Can you hear us now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
All right. Yeah,
so
I agree.
The point was that there's parity. There's parity.
There is parity. Yeah, and it is interesting too because like I think. When you look at the playoffs in the beginning of the season, a lot of teams have hope of making the playoffs, right? But there are only a certain amount of seats in the playoffs. Like if you push one team in, you have to push another team out. And so there's a lot of teams that are worthy. It's going to be interesting as far as like how teams start the season because those games are going to matter. So obviously with Caleb Williams kind of getting his feet under the wet in games, I think that's going to be important. Packers. I mean, they have a tough game right out of the bat with the Eagles. If they win that could be huge for their confidence.
Massive. Yeah. I mean, and I can see it going either way, but most people are going to pick the Eagles to win.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. So, but all right. Well, well, this has been a lot of fun. I definitely appreciate you coming on always. So where can we find you as we close out tonight?
Yeah, just follow me at RevTrevNFL if you're still here. Still have faith that I produce some pretty passionate takes. And if you like fantasy football advice, if you want to compete, contend, and win a fantasy championship, you should watch some of my fantasy football stuff. I'm telling you, there's some really hilarious arguments on there and some food for thought. So, but I love making NFL content and Packers content, especially.
All good stuff. Yeah, definitely like some great banter on that as well. Like some do not draft players. I know I saw was seeing that. So great stuff as we kind of get going with all those drafts and everything. So and you can find me on NFLOutdated on Twitter X and also on YouTube and also Freezin 4 Pod on the TikTok, and we'll get some more updates as we get going. So thanks again, Trevor, and thanks everyone for listening. Once again, it's been Freezin 4 NFC North Pod, episode 97. Thanks again.